Please subscribe to Morris TVGH.
True, we spoke to Ghanaians and illustrated the fact that there's currently a lot of ongoing works amongst the transmission systems. And that may necessitate putting the lights off at particular times. Yes, ECG came out with a lot of load shedding program in the areas that will be affected. And the reason was simple. Because of the fact that we have improved the transmission system a bit, the normal curtailment that should have occurred with the transmission outages was sometimes deferred or minimized by ECG bringing lights from another distribution network. We had to pause and defer during the Christmas time because we couldn't understand why we should celebrate Christmas with parts of the country in Dumso. That work recommenced on the 9th of April, just last weekend. But before even that work commenced, the general discussion started was whether we have enough generation capacity to meet our growing economy and whether we even have enough fuel to keep the nation moving. We in the Energy Ministry know that Ghanaians will judge us and probably the government on our ability to put the lights on. And in the midst of this Russia-Ukraine war and the global supply link problems, whether we'll be able to have fuel to move our cars and move the economy. Today's presentation, we will try to explain what the ministry is up and about with all its 16 agencies. And during question time, some of the heads of the agencies may answer the questions as appropriate. Today's objective is to demonstrate how we are trying to keep the lights on, keep the nation moving, demonstrate Ghanaian content and Ghanaian participation, and energy transition as we face that challenge. Our main objective as a ministry is to ensure there is stable, realistically priced, and universally accessible electricity, ensure availability and realistic pricing of petroleum products. So true, petroleum products pricing, we are all feeling it, it's going high. We hope to increase our crude oil reserve in this country to improve revenue for the economy. Ensure that Ghana's energy transition happens according to our development agenda. And ensure that with our newfound wealth of oil and in the energy sector, Ghanaian content and Ghanaian participation is paramount. When we talk about keeping the lights on, what existed or what has still exists, even though we have been trying to negotiate, are varying power purchase agreements that has led to excess capacity payments. Even though there are government guarantees, all these contracts are still take or pay. Whether you need the lights or not, once the generator generates it, you have to pay for it. That is not made better by the punitive tariff methodology that we have, that PURC tariffs escalate when you use more energy. You might assume that with excess energy in the market, the PURC tariff will be transparently open and such that we would encourage Ghanaians to use energy more. But that part tariff is still stuck in the late 90s when it was introduced. That allows you to, forces you to conserve energy. So the more energy you use, the higher you pay. What we are doing in the policy directive, what we have said going forward, that no longer are we going to do take or pay. Every power generation that is going to come will be take and pay. So we'll pay for the power that we take. We will also ensure that We increase our generation capacity as and when necessary. Some talk about 8,000 megawatts of power PPAs that have been signed that have not reached commercial realization. And we'll also ensure that in our power mix, we increase the amount of renewable energy, or clean energy for that matter. So no longer are we going to do take or pay, we're going to stick with take and pay. Like any other business, we wouldn't sacrifice government guarantees and still do take or pays. We will decide that we are going to buy the energy at a standard price like every commodity. The tariff will be dominated in Ghana cedis and pesos, not in dollars, because since the year 2007, the Foreign Exchange Transaction Act under the Bank of Ghana precludes or ensures that all goods and services in Ghana should be paid in the local currency. The first table or graph that we will see demonstrated that since the year 2016, when our total generation was 3,795 megawatts, we have been incrementally adding generation to the year 2021. At no time has our peak demand exceeded our generation capacity. So when people start shouting that we don't have enough to put the lights on, I say that is not the issue. Even that was not the issue 4 years before Nana Akufo-Addo came into office. Because we have had enough generation system in the thing. It's been either financial challenges that has not allowed us to pay for the fuel or something else. So the graph shows that. I hope we can all see it. And every year since 2017, you will see that we have been incrementally adding more generation as and when it's necessary. So far, we have an installed peak of 5,288 megawatts, and our highest system peak load that we have experienced was in March 18, 2022, and it was 3,469. Obviously, there's enough room between 3,469 and 5,282. We are continuing with the upgrade system in our transmission network. The Kumasi-Kintampo section of the transmission, with the line going up to Bonga, Bupe and Burkina Faso, we've completed that transmission network. But that is not all. As we try to tackle the other bottlenecks in the transmission network, we have not been particularly happy about incidences happening around the same time in 2s and 3s. A couple of days ago, we had our Abuaze switchyard burnt. It was burned down, and it has led to a lot of intermittent power curtailments in parts of Western region, Central region, and even Accra. It has affected even parts of Accra. Because what Gridco is striving to do is to put the whole network in a circuit such that you can wheel energy wherever you are needed efficiently, with automatic meters and stuff in there to ensure that even when they stay in the office, the power can be put on. But that has also meant that they're increasingly having trip-offs if the load imbalance it's unfavorable to the system. So the system decides to shut itself down to prevent machine and equipment losses, rather than put the lights on to cause those equipment too. And for some of the lines that we are changing, they are so outdated that they are congested, and it's causing increasingly trips in parts of the country. So it's true that parts of the country are experiencing intermittent power charges exactly because of a combination of factors, the work that we are doing and the power itself also giving up. So just around the time the switchyard caught fire, what keeps the voltages stable in the new Kaswa substation that we went to see at the machine called SVC that keeps the power stable, the charges on those machines, the ends started also burning. So we started dropping voltages from Kaswa to parts of Accra, and we are working hard to maintain those voltages. So even though we are happy that Kaswa system, we have also commissioned it and it is working, parts of the Kaswa system are also going off because of the congestion and everything else that is happening. So yes, very soon we'll have to put the Kaswa back on and commission it formally. So as we are even progressing with the network upgrade, the transmission line strengthening, things are not also working well for us, but we have to bear both and hope that we can get on top of it. So it's true, and it is very true, but I'll bear with Ghanaians. I hope that Ghanaians bear with us so that we are not going to sleep. We are going to work around the clock to make sure that we sort it out so that we keep the lights on. As we are strengthening the transmission system, we are also putting in place loss reduction strategies. The distribution set up itself through ECG and NEDCO. We have the meter management systems that ensures that remote and early detection of faults within the transmission system also happens. We have geographic information system to ensure that location of problems and the inventory and stuff that are needed in particular areas, we can even monitor it remotely. And also improve the workings within ECG through an enterprise resource planning system, and move on to ensure that the amount of electricity we put in particular areas in Ghana, we can account for every single item. So we have realized that recently the National Revenue Protection Task Force is going out. It's going out because the amount of energy ECG is putting in the system is not getting that commensurate amount of money back to ensure that it becomes financially viable. And companies that are reliant on ECG for their finances also get enough money. So the National Revenue Protection Task Force is out in full swing. Because we complain when we don't have the energy, and we don't pay for it when we don't have the energy, when we have the energy. It can't, something must give. So to ensure we employ all Ghanaians, that the little energy that ECG gets to you or NEDCO gets to you, pay for it. The attack on ECG staff or NEDCO staff, the butchering of NEDCO workers because they are doing their normal duty, is not going to be tolerated. So I keep showing this slide to everybody. The amount of money ECG doesn't collect from figures within ECG, their commercial losses and their collection losses, I mean theft, those who are stealing and the meters, those who are bypassing their meters, those whose meters are not working, and those who don't even have meters but also have electricity, is costing ECG nearly 3.2 billion Ghana cedis. 3.2 billion Ghana. Even in current exchange terms, over 700 million or $400 million. So if ECG loses $400 million averagely, and that is even more when you look at the 2021 table, it's even more than that. If it loses that amount of money, which other company can be viable if you continue to lose the amount of money that the ECG loses? And that ECG loss is our inability to pay, or willingness to pay, or power theft. So the National Revenue Protection Task Force would not visit the Ministry of Information very soon, but will definitely visit the Ministry of Information. They have visited my ministry, Ministry of Energy. Every Ghanaian must be responsible and pay for the energy he or she consumes, or else you'll be visited by the Revenue Protection Task Force. The implementation of the cash waterfall system ensures that all these power generators are paid. Those who generate the power, those who transmit the power, and those who distribute the power are paid. So if ECG doesn't collect enough, nobody gets paid well. And there's a tendency that these companies will want an increased tariff so that they can be paid better. I can assure you that we are resisting the calls for increased tariff till we sort out our losses. The more better we sort out our losses, the more we can properly declare whether we have to, or we must increase the tariff. But first, if you are losing so much, how do you convince me that I should let you increase tariff? First, if PULC doesn't reform its tariff methodology and structure such that when you have excess capacity, you are not penalized for using energy, you are rather encouraged to use more energy. Then, after those two measures, we can see our way forward in our tariff structures. Because, again, in sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana is probably the second or third country on the list with the highest electricity access rate. It means that it is costing a lot to take electricity to all the parts of Ghana we have to. And at least the distribution companies must be supported with our payment and prompt payment of our electricity bills. The current national electricity coverage is 87.03%. We hope to reach by the end of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's reign to have gone to 90% plus. That will make that Ghana has reached our SDG 7 goal of at least 90%. And I know that my agencies like WePower, VRA are working hard to improve the generation and also working hard to make sure that electricity is everywhere to ensure that we reach the national coverage. In our commitment in the power side, we want to improve grid stability. Why? Because I stood on this same podium and informed Ghanaians that transmission network between Kumasi and Accra and the north is so congested and is an old system such that Kumasi and the north, Kumasi especially, has become a bottleneck for everybody. I am not an engineer. So when the engineers tell me they don't sleep because they are finding it difficult to ensure and give us stability in the transmission network, we have to put our heads together and do what is necessary. In order to ensure that there's great stability, because all our generation assets, or most of our generation assets, or if not 90% plus, happen to be on the seashore area from, even Akosobo is near the seashore, coming all the way to Takrady. Everything is around that part. And we have to wheel all this energy way up to Ghana, especially made worse when Bui was not functioning as 100% as it should. When we came into office, Bui was not down in the sense that Bui was not stopped, had not spoiled or damaged or anything, but there was no water. So Bui was not producing. Fortunately, about a month or two after I got into office, the dam became so full that the Minister for Chieftaincy, who had transmogrified to become the Chief Executive of Bui, was in my office, pleading with me that they should wheel the power because there's more water than he needs now in the system. So it shows that to stabilize the grid, you need to balance where the generation is coming from. And Kumasi has been an albatross. In fact, the people of Kumasi are suffering more than any other parts of the country in intermittent power outages and things. They think, some of them have called me to say they think that they are being sabotaged. But it is not sabotage, it's a pure engineering problem and engineering failure that we have to address. That means we have to put generation in Kumasi. Thank God, VRA itself wants to relocate their Siemens plant, 80 megawatts to Kumasi. Gridco intends to put an SVC machine so that the voltages can stabilize in Kumasi. AXA Power wants to put over a 250 megawatt plant in Kumasi. Car Power also wants to put another over 200 megawatt plant in Kumasi. At least what it will do, that it will stabilize the grid and support the Gridco operations and support loads up north. Like I said, we will continue with the rehabilitation works between Accra Central and Kasua to ensure that we complete the circuit. We still know that there's still some work to do in ECG being able to distribute the energies between their substations and the ECG substations in Kumasi to ensure that when one place gets off, we can support with electricity. We had the baptism of fire this morning here, and it's our ability to transfer load from one area to another that's going to ensure that this meeting has occurred, because there was lights out. Lights out because, yes, it has happened. It has happened. One of their substations in Achimota has lost one of their transformers, just as we proceeded to come here. We committed ourselves after Paris 2015 to employ more clean energy into our system. Two things that means we have to do. We have to employ more solar or more hydro or all these clean fuels, or more wind power, more geothermal if it's possible, more wave technology power if it's possible, and nuclear power. So in this country, we are pursuing our advantages in solar and nuclear power to ensure that at least the base load that is necessary for industrialization, which we have been reliant on hydro in Ghana for a long time, and now gas, probably because God has blessed us, we would increase our use of probably nuclear as well. On the nuclear side, we've got into the stage of selecting a site for putting up a nuclear power plant, and also selecting a technology and a country partner to assist us in that. Our effort in the nuclear power area is being done under the auspices of the IAEA, such that Ghana conforms to international best practice standards, and people don't start thinking that we want to go into nuclear because we want to produce other things that are not good for the world at large. Like we said earlier, in the solar area, Main Energy, VRA, BUI are all increasing their generation in this area. And also, for islands on the Volta Lake and the far-to-reach places, we have adopted a technology of mini-grid, self-catering mini-grids in these islands, because it's not economical, or virtually we don't have the money to put the national transmission network through the river or under the seabed, under the riverbed to send electricity there. So we have adopted these off-grid solutions. And this year, we plan to do 3 off-grid solutions in Ada area in Ghana here. We are also at the same time improving the stoves that we use to cook, called improved cook stoves. So far, we have distributed over 240,000, and we are still distributing more to ensure that those who are cooking with charcoal cook with charcoal more efficiently, and also transit to gas in due time. So we want to do 38 mini-grids, or we've done 38 mini-grids. We've put 35,000 solar home systems on some schools, senior high schools and things, and we'll continue to ensure. We would also support the general populace who want to adopt solar in their houses, because you can put solar panels in your house, and at least for the 2 most expensive things, water heating and air conditions, we have air conditions now that you can connect even to solar.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe,
and click on the bell for more updates.